You literally get to make your own rules. Yeah. You literally can just say, you know what, F it. You know, they can fly, you know, whatever. You know, I'm not going to do that, but, sure, yeah. But you could.
You could. You've obviously done so much to like build out this universe and just fill it with detail. I'm curious just who on the cast ended up being the biggest Rebel Moon geek?
Who unexpectedly?
Sure. Because
like Ray Fisher, I've always known for a long time, and I know him as a little bit of a dork. So I expected it from him. But really, I think in the end, Sofia really kind of raised the level, because like her trailer, like every drawing, every doodle I gave her, anything, she just had this crazy, it looked like a serial killer lived in there. You know, it was like the walls were just covered with like all this art and notes, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, sure. This is like insanity. It's like the scene of a crime in here. And she, you know, she goes, I just need to know everything, you know. And that was really, that made me happy.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have pegged her for that.
Sure.
I mean, there's certain... I think felt like the details of it were very important to her process. Yes. She decorated her whole trailer with Rebel Moon images, and I think she studied maybe slightly more than the rest of us. So I won't speak for anyone. She definitely studied a lot more than I did. It was important to her to know the nuances. For me, I kind of like wanted to know my guy inside and out, and I did very quickly.
I could help you. For a small fee, obviously.
And then just felt like the rest I wanted to sort of experience in real time.
I think maybe Sofia, because I'll tell you what, Sofia, you know, if you looked at her trailer when she was filming this, she had every page plastered around the whole room, and it's like this section's for emotion, this is action, this is dialogue, this is backstory. Like she lived that script, and she had like his renderings in her trailer. So maybe Sophia's the one for. But we all had to live it. Sure. We all had to execute this. We all had to soak it up in our own way to bring it to life. You know, maybe Ray. Yeah. Maybe because Ray's really had that. Already worked with Snyder, obviously in Justice League. I kind of feel like if he wasn't the biggest Rebel Moon geek, he was the biggest Snyder geek.
Yes,
he was the one who could.
I would say more like he's a Snyder geek.
Yeah.
Who among the cast would you say, kind of over the course of production, became the biggest Rebel Moon geek? Like really kind of fell into the world.
Yeah, you're looking at him.
I'm a geek in general. Sure. I think that's why Zach and I gel so well. And I just love the script. I love the lore. I love all of it. I'm already ready for the House of the Blood Axe prequel comics that will be coming out. And just being able to talk with Zach, but not only Zach, but also Kurt and Shay, and just nerd out about this stuff is like, this is why I got into this business.
Rebel Moon nerd?
Yeah, just kind of like really kind of fell into the
I think we all became nerds of our own
project,
our own place in it, because you think about it, you know, Staz has got his own language, mythology, and backstory, and you know, Nemesis also, of course, Korra, and myself, there's all the Mother World, and you know, my father is mentioned in part 2 actually. So there was a lot to dig into. And I think that was what was so exciting when I first saw the movie. You know, I sat down in a little screening room in Soho, and it was like, wow, okay, yes. I remember reading the script and knowing this part, but you know, it felt so rich and alive, and it's pretty incredible that each character feels so well served, and there's so many characters, and this is in the shorter version of it. So when you get the extended version, you are going to get even more.
I am also personally just a deep geek, and I'm just curious kind of about the rules of the universe, especially when it comes to like sci-fi versus fantasy. Because like this is mostly sci-fi, but you do have some touches of magic.
There's a large magical element in the movie that actually, I think, you know, as we go forward, will be stronger. You'll see more of it. And it has a lot to do with like, even just when you start to learn the details of how the dreadnoughts are powered, and like sort of backstory on, you know, how the Mother World got its, like, what was the trade-off it made for like the great expansion that it did. It was probably a powerful, you know, planet within like the confines of like the near systems. But when it really went like big, what happened? What was the trigger? And you know, it's those kinds of details that when you start to go, oh, that's cool. Like, and how is that going to play and all those things. I think that's fun for us because that ends up being story and that ends up being sort of mythological and that ends up being sort of magical. And so it really, because in the end, I really want the fantasy and the sci-fi to really be in equal measure. And because I feel like that's sort of like the ultimate genre, like the ultimate genre, if you're a genre filmmaker, which I am, and sort of a genre lover, is science fantasy at the highest level, you know? I think sci-fi fantasy at the highest level. That's like, because anything can fit under the umbrella of that. Like there could be a horror movie in there could be anything you could think of, action, all of it.
And also you just get to make your own rules.
I mean, you literally get to make your own rules. Yeah. You literally can just say, you know what, F it. You know, they can fly, you know, whatever. You know, I'm not going to do that, but, sure, yeah. But you could.
You could.
Yeah, you could.
It's out there.
And so, yeah, so that's really the fun. To me, that's the really the funnest part of making a world like this. And a world for like, you know, sci-fi fans that get, you know, to really go down rabbit holes wherever they want and sort of explore different corners of the universe, which is kind of how I really see this IP evolving, you know, sure. Into like, I've been really careful with the other material that we're making that supports the movie, that it all be super in canon. Like nobody's taking a run right now. You know, maybe in the future you could do that, but right now I want everything. Like if you read the comic book, all the like history, everything in the comic book is canon to the movie. There's nothing that breaks it. Because I think that it's important now for fans to be able to like go other places for information about the world because there's just so much you can put in the movie. My dream would be like a big console game, like a real one. Uh-huh. You know, I love our mobile game and it's incredibly detailed and it's awesome, but like the King Daddy would be to like really have a giant game.
Zack Snyder is just so clearly passionate about Rebel Moon and he just knows these characters in these worlds inside and out. How did that end up kind of influencing the notes and kind of things that you would discuss about your characters just both before production and day to day?
It made me feel very confident on set, you know, knowing that our director really understood the story that he wanted to tell. He knows it so well that he can like hold it with an open hand.
Yes.
And that's really what you want with a director because, you know, no actor really wants to just be a puppet. Like we want to be able to come and contribute a little bit and feel like we're part of the process. And Zack just welcomed us right into the kitchen and said, you know, let's cook the meal together.
Yeah, I mean, how it all started for us is once we all were fortunate enough to be working with him, he put aside an hour and a half, 2 hours for each of us before production. And we sat down in this room, much like this, but a little bit bigger. And he had wall to ceiling renderings of the whole movie. So you would have Daggers there, you know, Gondaball there, Pollux there, and you got a real understanding of the world, the physicality, the culture. And so, you know, it's getting to work with someone who is that kind of tapped in and that aware of what you want to execute is fantastic. And then on set, you know, it's very fluid on set. You know, if he wanted something, he'd make it very clear. You know, physically, I need this, and he'd put this off. Like let's get this right. But he was always open to conversation. You know, there's a couple of lines I changed, a couple of words here and there. He's like, yeah, I like that. Let's go. You know, so there's this. It was a collaborative kind of tete-a-tete, kind of a meeting of the minds a lot of the time, which you'd sometimes think, well, how can someone with this much vision, with this much control, how can he do that? But he always left space for that, which I really, really am grateful for.
Just on the physicality side, if there was some blocking that we needed to do, Zack would be right there in it. And, you know, he's like in the action. He's like, okay, so you're going to come this way. You're going to turn. Ooh, you're going to come over here. And then, you know, the guy's going to come this way. And then you're going to take the gun. You go. So like just having him there to be able to like physically represent what technically needs to happen for them to be able to make some of the camera stuff work is phenomenal.
Well, there's a certain like joyful approachability that Zack has that creates such a fun experience on set, even something of this scale. You know, it ends up feeling kind of intimate and like this fun, nerdy, creative situation, which was really awesome.
It was a lot of fun on set. Between takes, he would often be like, you know, try one this way. And I think that was a very organic way that we sort of found our ways into our characters.
I think he's a director that allows so much, like a lot of freedom to his actors to come and
and be who they know the character should be. And only, honestly, a few times, there were times where he wouldn't tell us much. Do you remember? And I think, I mean, in my mind, I think because we did so much preparation and he gave us so much information and then he let us fly with it. And on set, it was just like he would come and just tweak certain things, but he was a lot focused on the shot and he could do his other, like, I feel like everybody came pretty prepared.
He trusts you with your characters.
Yeah, but we had a lot of conversations in preparation before each day of filming. But I felt like he's pretty trusting.
He's extremely trusting. And that was kind of confidence inducing and also having me second guessing, thinking, hang on a minute, should he trust me? Am I trustworthy? You know, but he talked about it when we were in Brazil. He was saying, like, you know, gushing about how he'd chosen the right people, so he trusted us. And I just thought, wow, Zack Snyder trusts me. Isn't that amazing?
I don't want no trouble.
We're not here to bring any.
Are you ready?
What do you think of like an ultimate cut for both Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2?
Those are coming in the summer.
Well, I mean, just like a full, like, both movies together. Even.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, my plan, and I don't know if this is how we're doing it, but like, when we release the ultimate cuts, director's cuts of the two hard R weirdo mythology ones in the summer, they'll come out together probably, so you can really
have the entire experience.
Go deep dive it. But I do believe that those, we were talking about how almost the R-rated version of this movie and the PG-13 almost are like alternate universes of the same story, you know? Sure. Which I think is also incredibly fun to kind of think about, you know.
I'm curious if there was anything that kind of particularly spoke to you in the development of these characters, and also if you got to take anything home.
Did you? Everything spoke to us. I mean, the level, like you say, of detail and how humbling it is to think about all of the work and all of the different areas of expertise and craftsmanship that went into creating. Because, you know, you might think watching this film that so much of it was created in visual effects and CGI, but Zack and his team built an enormous amount of the immediate vicinity stuff practically, and the level of detail and love and care that went into it was really humbling.
I understood they planted wheat, which I find ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. They even had a box of the wheat planted at Zack's house, so that every morning he could see how tall the wheat was. Yeah. You know, and then at some point it was like, okay, the wheat's ready.
This is where it needs to be.
Now we'll go shoot.
Now we'll go shoot the scenes with the wheat.
Yeah.
And I did steal something. I stole a set of the teeth.
Yeah? Oh, that's awesome.
I figure, like, they've been in my mouth for 8 months. Like, nobody else wants them, I would hope, and I still kind of want them, and so I stole them. I was saying I was going to wear them last night. I totally forgot. I was going to wear them to the premiere, and didn't happen.
Yeah, next time. You can do it, Rebel Part 2. There you go.
There you go.
I wanted my boots. Did you get yours?
I got like 5 pairs of them. I'm joking.
I wanted my boots. The costume really helped me get into character, and the makeup, obviously, but the costume was so detailed, and I could feel this idea that she'd been through a lot of battle already. You could see it. Like, you could see the scuff marks on the armor and like the tattered fabric and the dirt, and all of that was really helpful.
Yeah, I'd say the costume as well. I'd put it on every day, and it was kind of complicated to get into, so I would really feel like I was going off to battle.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, I think it was the dreads, the dread wig. We had a great hair department, and once that went on, and I was like, okay, I can feel who this person is. So it's a completely different style than what I've ever worn, and I've got a profound respect for people that have dreadlocks.
Not gonna rock that look yourself anytime soon?
I mean, it would take a lot of work, but I don't know if I have the discipline for it.
Yeah, sure. Well, did you keep the wig?
No.
Well, I'm wearing the necklace.
Oh, hey, there you go.
From Tarek here as we speak. This actually was an idea and an example of Zack's amazing desire to put you and your personal life into as much as possible. My wonderful wife got me this when I booked the job as a present, and I told Zack and I showed Zack, and he was like, and I was like, listen, is there any chance we can maybe don't know, I'm flying a griffin. There's a griffin on this or a Bennu, you know. When we chance we could use it, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I can't give too much away. The backstory will tell you more in part 2, but this plays a very significant role in my story, and not just my story linearly, but the past, and it informs a lot to do with my history.
That's crazy cool.
I would say culturally, it's what he's able to make me do in a way, right? I mean, for the first time ever in a film, I end up having to use my vocal cords, and sing a song. But it's not just a song or any song. It's a tribal song from my country.
What a wonderful way, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Just honor culture, and it's so beautiful. I won't give anything away, but it blew me away every time. Every time I was like, is Tarek meant to cry in this moment, or is he just Staz listening to Djimon? I was like, what's happening here? I'm not sure which one's happening.
That was quite a special touch.
I like, for me, shoes are very important. Like they set the tone. So I had the shoe, and I wanted to heal. I needed to feel, and I didn't want a hard bottom necessarily for when you meet Korra in Unveiled. But when we were in the Imperium, I wanted a hard bottom. And same, I had that elevation, but I needed that sharp walk the same way than he does. But yeah, there's like every piece of clothing brings me to the character in the same way. When I'm done with the day, everything I remove sheds the character a little bit. But that process of getting dressed in the morning is a ritual to get into. It's very important. I really enjoy that place. Yeah.
I think just having tailored clothing, bespoke. Even the gloves were tailored to my tiny little hands, the overcoat was amazing. In terms of keeping something, I didn't keep any of the clothes. Unsurprisingly, I don't want to walk around East London looking like a space fascist. Sure. It's not my usual, fashion style. But one thing I did do is my Muay Thai gym in London, the colours are black and gold. So I got all the patches from the Imperium that were gold and red, and I put them all over my Muay Thai shorts. And I got Paul Coricelli, my costume assistant, to put them on, and I gave a pair to Spider and Mel. I don't know if they'll ever wear them. That's so but cool. I train in them, all week long. And in fact, I was in there a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys was like, "Oh man, that's really cool. I really like those patches. Where'd you get them from?" And I was just like, eBay. But it's they look awesome.
Part 2 is coming in just a few months, and I know you probably can't say too much about it, but I'm curious if you could, in 3 words, kind of tease audiences for what we can expect.
You're not ready.
3 more words?
Yeah, 3 each.
9 words total?
9 words total.
In 9 words, describe gritty, cool, dark.
Nice.
Even more badassery.
Who among you is willing to die for what you believe?